Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Hope we're all well. Hope we're having a fantastic Monday. I've probably got some bad news or potential bad news, but let's try and find a positive in all this. Every negative situation has a positive in it if you're willing to find it, is my saying. So we're talking a little bit about the updates about Pedro Porro. We'll be looking at a player that we also had a bid made for from the Bundesliga. We'll also be looking at a player that we're going off to La Liga and just some general updates really. So let me jump in with the main one. This has been the main deal for the whole of January. I know Danjuma was 11th hour signing. It wasn't meant to be for him. We were really going for Zaniolo, but obviously that deal didn't sort of come around. Basically, many reports just basically saying the deal was going to be way too difficult to sort, okay? With Danjuma as plan B. Anyway, I'm not really a fan of plan B or C. Go and get your plan A. If you want plan A, go get plan A, right? So with Pedro Porro, he is plan A. He is the guy that we want. We've got a deal agreed, €48 million, not pounds. And part of the deal was that he gets to play in the League Cup, the Portuguese Cup final at the weekend against Porto, and also to cover just some general fees. It's now come out that Sporting Lisbon have said, actually, no, we want an extra €2.6 million for admin fees, which is just a joke. So not only did they push the boundaries of saying, actually, that release clause that we talked about, that's next summer. That's not actually now. So we want more than that, right? So obviously Spurs went his €48 million, which is more than your fee for the summer, right? Then they said, actually, can we have him play in the cup final? Which Spurs said, that's fine. It's a big game. I can understand it's a good potential send-off to the fans. And then they've come out today and said, actually, the deal's not agreed. We want an extra 2.5 or 2.6 million euros, right? So first and foremost, that is pathetic behaviour. That's not how you do business. You've agreed a deal. Spurs have made special adjustments to their deal to allow him to play in your cup final, which is potentially the biggest game of your season, right? Porro's gone, yeah, all right, cool. I'm going to play the cup final. We're going to hopefully win it. And then I'm off basically early next week to England to basically join Spurs, potentially play at the weekend in the Premier League, right? Just before I go any further, Porro is desperate for the move. So don't think that it's him that not wanting the move. He absolutely, unequivocally wants this move, right? This is Sporting Lisbon. This isn't Spurs. Spurs have given more money than basically his release clause anyway. Porro's already agreed his deal. The medical was set for today. So this is what I mean. This deal was going to be basically announced today or tomorrow, right? Completely agreed, finalised. He's in the Spurs kit. He's training, all that jazz, right? Basically, no. That's simple as that. It's just not, because Sporting Lisbon have just basically been difficult. They've been difficult for a lot of these transfer negotiations. They've not budged. I don't want to call this an ace card whatsoever. I don't believe it's an ace card, but I guess Spurs probably have nowhere else to turn to when you look at a difficult person on their side, not playing in board transfer negotiations. Who do you go and get? One of the most notoriously difficult people to negotiate with to come and be on your side. So Paul O'Keefe, if you don't know him, massive name for Spurs fans and around Twitter. He's announced Daniel Levy has taken over negotiations. Now this screams the idea of, you're going to play hardball, let's play hardball. Well, absolutely play hardball. You want this extra 2 million. I tell you what, why don't we just buy him for the summer? Well, you'll lose multiple million out of him. Hey, what if Man City come in and take him for 25 million? Because obviously João Cancelo's off to Bayern Munich. If you haven't seen that, that's come out today out of the blue. They're not currently negotiating for Pedro Porro, but why not in the summer they go, yeah, we'll have him, 20 million euros. You lose 25 million euros, right? That's a lot of money for a club like that. It's a lot of money. I think Daniel Levy's going, well, we'll just take our bid back. If you don't want the 48 million euros, we'll take it back. And basically, you won't even get half of that in the summer from Man City, because I assume Man City will probably come in for him. Obviously, I know they've got Lewis, obviously, that young right back, but obviously Walker's obviously still there, but Walker's getting on a little bit. Maybe Walker transitions more into centre half, Obviously, Cancelo, there's reports that Cancelo, Laporte, I think Gundogan and someone else weren't happy with Pep. Maybe Laporte's available, It's that sort of thing. So I still see the deal getting done. Romano's even said he still sees the deal getting done. There was reports from lowest tier sources in Portugal that Pedro Porro was training at Sporting Lisbon today. That's been debunked. he wasn't training today for Sporting Lisbon. That's something that they've released to try and say, hey, if we put this out, it makes it look like Pedro's happy to stay. He's not happy to stay. Romano's even said he's desperate to get to Spurs now. So I don't see Lisbon having the power they think they have, because of the fact that if we withdraw our bids, they're now stuck with a player who doesn't want to be there because he wants to leave, and they're most likely going to lose value because they're not getting 48 million euros factually in the summer. They're not getting this extra 2.6 million euros that they want for admin fees. They get 45 million as a maximum. Pedro Porro's performances might fall off the face of a cliff now, and they're not going to get anything near that. So I think we will get him. I think Levy will put the thumb on and put the pressure on and see if they want to do it. You know, maybe they go, well, we don't want the money. Okay, it's fine. You're just going to lose value in the summer. So it's one of those things, right? So yes, I still see Pedro Porro happening, but there was more reports as basically to say that this would be the last deal that we do this window. Doesn't mean that we don't do another one, but it would be the last one we do for sure. So basically it's the one that gets finalised last, right? Because obviously Romano a few days ago said, watch out for the deadline day, Spurs will be active, right? So you see what I mean? There could be something else coming down the pipeline, which brings me nicely into my second name. Now this name, when I say it, if you watch my previous videos back towards the summer, I actually talked about him. I ran through his stats for the previous year and sort of just gave you a brief analysis of who he was. It's Piero Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen. Now this comes from Christian Falk. Now if you don't know who Christian Falk is, he's probably the biggest journalist, just a solitary individual journalist in Germany. So very much in the know, a tier one source, right? Said that Spurs have made a 25 million euro bid for Piero Hincapié. Now Hincapié can play left centre back towards left back. He is kind of versatile in that regard. Quite young, does kind of remind me a little bit of a Romero in that regard. South American, which always helps that as well. This, first and foremost, yeah, okay, if this was our plan A, then yeah, absolutely, let's go get him. That's not too much in terms of value when you talk about the market. I mean, Brighton just rejected a £70 million bid for Caicedo, who's played about, not even a season in the Premier League. So for 25 million euros for, a good prospect for centre-half, absolutely. This to me isn't plan A though. This to me was, plan C at best. Gvardiol and Bastoni are plan A and plan B. Plan A, A1, however you want to look at it. I don't really see one being ahead of the other. I think Spurs look at it and just go, let's just try and get one of them. Whoever it is, let's get one of them, right? Hincapié is not plan A. And it just makes me think that we're skimping around, basically doing what Spurs always do. Let's buy really cheap and we'll sell them on for loads in the future. Instead of, let's try and win now. Let's try and spend some money and win now. Two centre-halves of good quality really closes the gap to the top. That's major. Two good centre-halves, a keeper and a right wing-back completely changes this league for us. I'm not saying we win the league. Please don't think I'm going to say that. What I'm saying is it definitely closes the gap to the guys at the top. I don't see Liverpool being this bad next season. I don't see Chelsea being bad this next season. Man United will invest well. Arsenal obviously had a really good year so far. They're going to invest more. They're looking to invest obviously in Caicedo. City are obviously going to be City. Newcastle are going to keep spending. It's going to be more difficult. So when you think of two proper top-class centre-halves, a really great keeper at the back so you feel safe and secure with, we're under the cosh, a right wing-back of quality, Pedro Porro obviously, you can start to see the makeups of a very good team. Piero would absolutely give us great quality depth as well. So fair enough on that regard. I just don't see him being our main centre-half target. Would he help us this season? Yes. Is it sort of one of those, I'm not saying low cost, because obviously 25 million is a lot of money, but sort of a low to medium cost, with a high potential value, of return. Maybe he turns out to be a great signing. Maybe in a few years he does get sold on to someone else. I don't know how it looks. Yeah, you could say there has an upside there. I just don't think it's enough. That's the simple way of putting it. Good talent, but just not enough. That's the way I sum that one up. Speaking of a player leaving, and I've mentioned this about when I was talking about Arnaut Danjuma and how, if he was to come in, we need to basically kick someone out of our non-homegrown squad to fit him into our competitions for the rest of the season. I said it's probably going to be Brian Hill, and I was right. It is Brian Hill. So Brian Hill is currently in Sevilla, or Seville, whatever you want to go about it, doing his medical to rejoin the club on a basically 6-month loan deal with no option to buy in the summer. I do think Conte sees him with ability. He probably just wants an extra 10 to 15 pounds of muscle on him, which I've always said he probably needs a little bit more. What I would say is, it's difficult. I would like him to go to a different league personally, be it the Bundesliga or be it Serie A, where he has to work within more of a system, be a lot more drilled, but also in a more physical league. Technically, Brian's obviously fantastic. He's great with the ball. He's a good dribbler. He works hard. But I'd like to know that he can play in a more disciplined style. He can toughen up, withstand a lot of sort of the beatings. Premier League's probably the more physical of the top 5 leagues. But Serie A and Bundesliga definitely is a different level of physicality in terms of, they run very hard. There are hard-hitting challenges. You have to be mentally disciplined, that sort of thing. But looks like he's obviously on his way to Sevilla. I think it's a great move in theory. He's going to get game time. It's somewhere he knows. It's obviously where he's come from. I really hope it works out there. And I really hope, he, in the next 6 months, really shows that level of ability that, he was touted to be with that wonder kid status, when he was coming from Spain to Spurs. I just hope it works, if you know what I mean, because we could really do with that level of quality into our squad. Conte's talked about him being a Bernardo Silva. If he could, potentially play in a 3-5-2 as an attacking midfielder in a way, why not? So fingers crossed to Brian. Hopefully he does well. Just a really quick update. It's another one. You've probably seen reports. Japhet Tenganga's linked with a move away. Spurs have apparently blocked all moves. On the Jed Spence situation, there's no real updates as such. I know we rejected a loan move from Brentford, but that's really all we've seen so far. So we'll have to sort of keep an eye on that. But lads, that's the end of the video. I really hope the next time I do this video, it's Porro's done. Here we go. Here he is. There's the Spurs shirt with him in. Spurs are still looking to make moves. These players are going to be going. It's a bit more of a good news story video. Today's a little bit more mellow because there's potential that we don't get our number 1 target, which is quite common. See Grealish, see David Villa, see many names, all right? I'm not going to go through them all. But guys, that's the end of the video. Drop a like on the video if you like it. Hit the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Let me know, just vent if you want. Let me know if you're angry about the Pedro Porro situation. Let me know what you think we need to be doing. Obviously, hit subscribe if you're new. Always good to see new faces in and around. And drop the bell notification hit as well, because there'll be more and more coming out. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. Hope we're all well. And I look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Take care, lads.